Hello, and good evening everyone who isn't Twilight Sparkle. Occasionally, when relaxing between monster truck rallies and rocket launches, Twilight Screw It Sparkle relaxes with a book by the warm firelight of other, lesser books. Literally, a book as only her own autobiography can survive the scrutiny of a god among gods who subsequently became mewling whelps before her eye-searing glory. And this is her story, as if you'd read any other. Twilight Sparkle fixes everything by Between Lines. It was not an average day in Ponyville because Princess Twilight, the Incredible Sparkle, as her first act upon waking up, had sentenced Average to death. With that afterthought taken care of before lesser ponies could even think, Twilight Unstoppable Sparkle poured herself a bowl of 60 Ford Mustangs in vodka, with a side of gold-plated diamonds for appropriate roughage. A balanced diet is critical to maintaining full levels of awesome. Prepared for her day, and it was her day as she'd taken over all Celestial duties from Celestia, Luna, and Cadence even though she didn't have any, Twilight, you know it, Sparkle, kicked down her front door, forcing it to exit from existence and stepped out into the street. Instantly, all ponies bowed for miles around by combined dint of their instinctive subversive to their true master, and the 8.5 Richter earthquake she sent out with every step. Being infinite in her magnanimity, she waved a hoof, and rewarded her subjects with riches and bitches in great supply, for she was Twilight, get used to it, Sparkle. It was then that her friend, or as close as any normal non-Sparkle being could come to such a role, Rainbow Dash flew up to her. Normally, such an action would have been described in some lesser form of English such as lowercase, and without reference to Twilight, the true prime, Sparkle. But Twilight, flanks of steel, Sparkle, had retroactively removed all such inferior structures from existence. "Hey Twilight," said Rainbow Dash in her now upgraded full caps pronunciation for which she should be and was eternally grateful for. "Want to go teach me some new tricks?" Twilight smiled, and the brilliance of the gesture obliterating the eastern half of Equestria and blinding the sun. "I already have." And Rainbow hovered in awe of Twilight, the one, Sparkle's endless wisdom, before flying off to intimidate a lesser degree of the tricks that only Twilight, best pony, Sparkle, could ever perform. Watching her closest thing to a friend try and match her levels of awesome, Twilight, unparalleled Sparkle, shed a single tear, creating a new inland sea. Even though she was so distantly removed from other ponies and their lesser levels of grossly impressive performance, she could still find it within her infinite compassion to sympathize with their inferior and ultimately meaningless plights. Because Twilight, Alpha and Omega, Sparkle, was an awesome friend. Having elevated other ponies as far from their lowly state as was possible even for a being such as unmatched glory as herself, Twilight, Infinite Sparkle, pulled out her checklist. Of course, simply being noticed by a being of such stupendous sparkleness as Twilight, every single item on the list was already resolved upon creation. Still, she completed them again, because that was what normal ponies use checklists for, and it was important to remain humble. With Remain Humble checked off her list, Twilight Sparkle created an improved version of the spork that actually worked. She dubbed it the Sporkle. She also gave it the ability to cure cancer, poverty, hunger, and lesser cutlery. The Sporkle then went and held its own press conference and launched its own product line and ad campaign. The ad went Sporkle by Twilight, that one Sparkle. It was a runaway success and sold more than anything ever. Done tending to those social obligations, she felt inclined to observe as a function of her unquestionable whims, Twilight, the mare, Sparkle, decided to briefly contemplate her own awesomeness. Of course, by having her awesomeness contemplated by a being as inherently awesome as herself, her awesomeness multiplied by a factor of infinity divided by 0. In recognition of this, she grew 4 more wings and promptly caught fire. Her own glorious incandescence more than enough for ponykind, she then punched out the sun, seeing it as it was already blind and Luna didn't get enough credit. Of course, Twilight, the Decider, Sparkle, was again omniscient in her sweeping decisions and impregnated Celestia with a thought so that she would have a new calling in life now that the sun was exploded. Of course, being full of Twilight sparkle, they were infinitely better than the sun anyway. Having performed more good than all other ponies in history combined, Twilight flew the Crystal Empire to herself. She then cast a duplication spell and made sweet, sweet love to herself in full view of Flash Sentry, thus stealing his waifu. She cast another 100 duplication spells so she could do it again to 200 Flash Sentries. There were 200 because, of course, there were 2 Twilight, like you even need to ask Sparkles, and Twilight, yeah you do, Sparkle would never create a duplicate that was anything short of perfect. And Flash Sentry wept, and the world rejoiced. Satisfied with her work for today, she lowered herself over the horizon and shoved her hoof into the moon, turning it into a copy of herself as well, so Equestria need never suffer the bane of an inferior celestial body. Realizing that there were 3 of her now and only 2 heavenly bodies, Twilight, Undefined, Sparkle, decreed that the 3rd world would serve the purpose of Smoon, and new astronomical body so awesome that only Twilight, Smoon, Sparkle could have conceived it. And it was good. Stark silence filled the room, aside from the frothy gurgling of one particular lavender pony. Only 2 others dared stand close enough to watch over the twitching princess. One a dark gray mare, the other an unforgettable pink. "Pinkie Pie?" Octavia asked, her voice working slowly through the words. "Where exactly did you get the ingredients for your cake?"
"Oh, with the flour shortage and the ban on rum, I had a really hard time baking a rum cake. I knew Vinyl had lots of rum, though, so I sneaked over and took her favorite rum."
She grinned broadly.
"I knew it was her favorite because she named it. Peyote's kind of a weird name, though. But that was okay, because she even had flour, too. But for some reason, it kept in a tiny plastic bag with a eraser."
Piggy paused for a moment.
"Vinyl's a really strange pony."
Octavia wasn't listening. She was too busy calling poison control. The end.